Okay, hello, this is Athena Jezik. It's Quadriceps Day, so we're going to look at some different ways of opening up the quadriceps, getting them stretched as well, all of the backs, the fronts of the legs. It all ties into the hip and into the low back, so it's another reason why we want to stay nice and flexible, including the calves. So I'll address the calves too a little bit as well. So this is Lucy on the table, and here we go. So again, a good way to start out is just to get a feel for what you're going to be working into, tension patterns, how the muscles are laying on top of each other, if there's any, extra tension, or if there's quivering or maybe little spasms, you can pick all that up. And you want to be gentle. Of course, you always want to be gentle with the body. I know we think that we're really tough, but we're really pretty fragile. All right, so to start with, I'm just going to have the knee bend, and I am going to start down with the calf muscle, the gastrocnemius, and making sure that the foot is lined up. Now, when we went through the video with the foot, I did mention how it wants to pull in. This is real important, especially if you're a therapist or if you're working with this, to make sure that is going to be level. The toe over the knee. Please always remember the alignment of the body. It's really, really important. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just simply going to push down on the toes very gently and feel a tightening here now sometimes there's those Charlie horses that happen here, so you don't want to go forcefully, but you do want to give it a stretch all the way into the Achilles, and then just let it squeeze, just kind of squeeze it a little bit as you're doing that. Just loosen it up because it's tense. It's tense because it's being flexed. And then you can point it again, making sure that the ankle and the toe is in the right position, and then feeling what's happening there. Always be careful. It really does make a difference. I have seen a lot of things that were caused from misalignment or training, in some kind of training where the alignment was not emphasized so much. Alrighty, now we want to lift up the foot, the leg here. Now that gets to be kind of heavy, so you can work it again by sitting and tucking the foot in. Sometimes you want to maybe put a thing, but I'm not worried about her foot because it's clean. But some of you might want to put a towel in between there, and then put your hands underneath the thing and find that alignment for the foot. And then you can just lift it up. And once you get it up, it's a little bit easier. And then hold it back, bend it in as you're up, and see where it goes. Okay. So I'm going to hold it here and here. Reposition myself a little bit. I'm going to bring this leg in and under, and then lift this up onto the leg, so we can let the hamstring relax a little bit. And I'm not up very high. I'm on my ankle and foot, and then I'm underneath, feeling the hip flexor muscles, which are, okay, and then we can lift it up. We're going to relax it a little bit, just like we did with the hamstrings. Hold it, just let it move a little bit so it has a little action. Now, one of the reasons you want to be careful lifting here is because you're going to scrunch the low back in. And you want to make sure that that's long. Okay, so now we got it there. So now let's see how this is going to work. Getting it up this way again and lifting. And now we're going to bend this in. And even though it has a farther to go, it's gone a little bit farther. You don't want to lift too high and let this crunch in the low back. So as this lifts, if you start seeing much of a shift in the low back, you want to stop, because we're just working the hip. You're getting into the back that way. So there we go. Then you can check this again. Get that foot lined up. And that's going a little deeper. And then you can also pick it up and do rotations and back. So that's, clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay. And then you can just check. And yes, it's much softer, even though she's got a lot of really good muscle tone. It's muscle tone that doesn't seem to have quite the tension as it had before. All right, other side. We'll do something similar. You lift up and get that alignment of the foot. I really do like kind of sitting there because I can see the alignment better. And then see how, this is going pretty good. Yeah, pretty loose. Now we're gonna loosen. Okay. We're gonna get under here. And what I'm doing is I'm working with the pads of my fingers, and my hand is just kind of going like this, up and down, just lifting it up and down. It takes a bit of finger and hand strength, and your hands really do take a beating. But so there's the leverage. The leverage is back here, and that's what I'm doing. So it's not like a finger point. It's pads of the finger, and it's covering a lot of tissue at the same time. Okay, so that should help you to understand how to do that a little bit. And then here, yeah. Now we're going to get into the calf and find that alignment, and then bring it forward with that alignment. Sometimes you have to get yourself, you have to kind of move your body with theirs. It's done more work. It might be a little stronger. It might be a little more out of alignment. Okay. The hip. Watching to make sure that there's not much going on in the low back, just it's all in the hip. Okay, and then I'm going to get myself in to hold that up for a little bit. And this leg seems a little bit more flexible than the other one. The alignment on the foot. And then, yeah, this is already quite different. When it's lifted like this, you're getting the muscle to stretch, so you're feeling it. Okay, that's good. Coming down and then up. Watch that alignment. And then you can go circular and counterclockwise. Need to get a little bit different position. Circular and back. Okay. And there we have it. feeling really nice and loose. The hip socket is right about here. So you can feel into there too and see how that works. It's pretty defined. Yeah. Okay. Now that we've got both sides of the legs softened, and in this case the quadriceps were the last that we did, we're going to go into the low back a little bit, just at the very lowest back where the sacrum is, and I'm just going to knead a little bit into the hip for the gluteus muscle. And you're kind of pushing down with the palm and out. Now this is still not a whole lot of pressure, but it's a feel of pushing into the muscle until it is like pushing you back. So it's a little dance with the muscle. It's not where you're in command or control of it or trying to power over it. It's really just where you're going into the tissue and letting it dance with you without any force, and it begins to trust you, and then it'll talk to you. That sounds crazy, but it will let you know a lot more. So what I've found is that it's a little bit tense right down through here. So I'm going to go on the edge of this erector of the IT band, the IT band, on the front side, the anterior side of the IT band, and that's where it led me from that hip joint. So that came up from the back, so I felt that through. Now I'm just going to go back up on the other side. So we're actually getting some IT work here too, which sometimes doesn't need it and sometimes does, but in this case the legs were tight, so they're even tight over here in this more tendinous kind of tissue, and just work up. And then, so this is not really like massage therapy. This is more like body work. It's specifically for focusing on more about the joints and the alignment, but it's also addressing the muscles that are attached to that. So we're getting into the walls of the structure, if you will. And then we can do the same thing, similar on this side. You do find that, each side is usually quite different. And you want to get them to where they're feeling close to the same. So we're just going to knead into this. And this is a very soft kneading. You don't have to, this is the deepest I go is with the palms, only into real fleshy parts. I don't like using my elbows. I refuse to use my elbows. There's just not enough feeling in the elbow to be able to know where I'm at, and it's, for me, it doesn't work. So it seems a little bit too rough. So here we are. Okay, now here we are. Now this side is a little bit softer, but I'm still going to go down. But this is just asking for it on the whole middle part of the IT band. So where one felt a little bit more tense on the front and back, this one feels a little more tense in the middle. And the body showed me very clearly that there was a difference. So I know a lot of the massage therapy is working the same thing, but we're getting into much deeper structures, we're getting into much more subtle structures, and we're getting into what I would consider advanced work. After working this full time and supporting myself for 30 years, with this work alone, you learn quite a bit about how to deal with it if you pay attention and just learn as much as you can. Take everything in from whatever teacher you have. They'll all give you information and work it into what works. sometimes it's hard to be told that you're doing something not so good, but get over that. You won't be a good therapist if you have your own issues that get in the way. It's kind of the way it works. Yeah. So this is feeling much better now. We only went up to the edge of the sacrum. Here's the sacrum, the edge. We just worked on the muscles that are attached, the gluteus muscles. There's 3 layers of them, and the attachments along this hip area, down into the hips, which need to be mobile. We worked behind this hamstring area, which ties into the hips, the quadriceps area that ties into the hips, low back, stomach as well, the trunk, and then the legs down here, which get us mobile, and our feet. So we've had a pretty good understanding of how the lower extremities and parts of the body, how that can be helped in a simple way without a whole lot of effort. And then you can always give a nice stretch. Now again, the stretches that we give in this work, or I do, which I prefer, is just stretching the fascia. So it's getting in there and feeling. The first layer is skin, the second layer is fluid, the third layer is fascia, and just meld in with that fascia and give a little stretch, like you're stretching a nylon stocking, very gently, and you can feel it stretching like it's right now, and it's slow in stretching right now. I feel it just below the knee. So I'm going to keep stretching it. And sometimes, like what's happening right now is there's a little rotation. There's a rotation in her right leg. And now it's coming back. So there was a little unwinding, and that was just a little bit above the knee. The other leg is just stretching fine. It's nice and straight. There was a little distortion there. And now I can feel it going up into the hip on the front, the hip crests. That's the way you can stretch the front. The back side of the stretch would be here. And you're going into those layers, the skin, the fluid, the fascia, and then you meld with the fascia, and you take like a little, it's like you're stuck with a magnet or, kind of stuck on the nylon. And you're stretching it, and it's over the calf now. It's going up into the hamstrings. Okay, so that felt like it stretched about to here, so I'm just going to stretch it a little longer right here and just give a little pull so I can feel it going there. And sometimes the person on the table can feel this, and sometimes they can't. It's very subtle, but you can feel it when your hands are trained. And they do feel it even though they don't know what they're feeling. And this is all slippery now. Yeah, it's all really nice and flexible. So that gives a little bit of length to the fascia as well. Even though it doesn't really have much movement, it loosens things up around it that are attaching to it. Okay, this is Athena Jezik. Thank you.